Iran-Israel breaking news live update. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, has issued a call for evacuations in Nabatieh, South Lebanon, in response to the lethal Hezbollah attack. Blinken asserts that it is urgent for Israel to facilitate polio vaccinations in Gaza. Israel stated that it would make progress in obtaining a U.S. assurance that would permit the IDF to act freely in the event that Hezbollah violates the armistice. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, has issued evacuation orders for the southern suburb of Beirut in anticipation of airstrikes against Hezbollah. The IDF's Arabic language spokesman issues a statement informing residents of Beirut's southern suburb to evacuate several buildings in the vicinity. The statement asserts that the military will shortly conduct its first strike on targets in a Hezbollah stronghold in several days. The IDF has issued a statement in which it denies culpability for the destruction of UNRWA's office in the West Bank camp of Ner Shams, claiming that the damage was caused by Palestinian terror operatives. It is inaccurate to assert that the IDF soldiers demolished the UNRWA offices in Ner Shams. The Pentagon has reported that U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin engaged in a phone conversation with his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant regarding opportunities for regional de-escalation in the context of the ongoing Middle East conflict. The readout also states that Austin reviewed the steps Israel is taking and should continue to advance to improve the dire humanitarian conditions in Gaza, as well as the prospects for a hostage release and ceasefire agreement. Following criticism from local Jews regarding the absence of hate crimes and felony terrorism charges, the Chicago Police Department has announced that it will include these charges in the charges against a man who was involved in the shooting of an Orthodox Jew while strolling to a synagogue in the Midwest city last Shabbat. Larry Snelling, the police superintendent, stated at a press conference that hate and bigotry are the foundations of violence. Snelling, in response to criticism regarding the force's management of the case, asserts that the police sought to guarantee that there was adequate evidence to support the hate crime allegations against Sidi Mohammed Abdallahai, 22, a process that requires time. Officers discovered evidence on Abdallahai's phone that indicated that he planned the shooting and explicitly targeted people of Jewish faith, according to Snelling. We were able to secure the terrorism and hate crime allegations as a result of this evidence. The office of UNRWA in the Ner Shams camp of the West Bank was damaged by Israeli bulldozers on Thursday, according to the agency's chief, Philippe Lazzarini. Lazzarini states in a post on the social media platform X that the office is no longer usable. In the hours following the IDF's announcement that it was conducting a counter-terror operation in Ner Shams, the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have vowed to respond to Hezbollah's lethal projectile attacks on northern Israel today. Hezbollah missiles struck Israel today, resulting in the deaths of 7 innocent civilians. In an unusual English-language post on X, the IDF declares that it will not permit Hezbollah's lethal assaults to remain unresolved. Colonel Avichai Adri, the IDF's Arabic language spokesman, previously advised civilians in the vicinity of Hezbollah-controlled structures in Nabatieh, southern Lebanon, to evacuate promptly in anticipation of airstrikes. According to an IDF tally, Hezbollah launched approximately 90 missiles from Lebanon at northern Israel today. 5 men were killed in a projectile impact in a field near Mechela, and a mother and son were killed in another strike in a grove near Haifa. Iraq is attempting to prevent itself from becoming entangled in the escalating regional conflict as Iran-backed armed groups wage attacks on Israel from Iraqi soil, according to sources with knowledge of the situation. The country is currently observing Israel's destructive campaigns in Gaza and Lebanon with apprehension. Iraq is currently experiencing a period of relative stability, with a service-based agenda that has transformed much of the country into a construction site, with high revenue from oil sales financing the operation. This development occurred 2 decades after the U.S.-led invasion that toppled Saddam Hussein. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani's government is apprehensive about regional conflicts that could potentially disrupt its delicate equilibrium between Washington and Tehran, both of which it is affiliated with. Iraq does not maintain diplomatic relations with Israel. The spillover from the regional conflict led to months of tit-for-tat attacks between Iran-backed armed groups and U.S. forces stationed in Iraq and the region. These attacks only ceased after Iran intervened in February. However, Sudan's government has been unsuccessful in its efforts to persuade the Islamic resistance in Iraq, a coalition of armed groups aligned with Iran, to cease the firing of drones and rockets at Israel, according to 4 sources within Iran-backed armed groups and 2 government advisors. According to sources, Iraq's top security officials conducted 2 unsuccessful visits to Iran in the past 2 months in an effort to secure Tehran's assistance in suppressing its affiliated Iraqi entities. Tehran received the Iraqi delegation with a chilly reception. According to a senior Iraqi security official who was informed of the visits, Those groups have their own decision, and it is their call to determine how to support their brothers in Lebanon and Gaza. According to sources, Baghdad contacted Washington to request that U.S. officials intervene with Israel in order to prevent retaliation for the attacks, which included one that resulted in the deaths of 2 Israeli soldiers and the injury of over 20 others on October 4. This was the first time that such an attack had been reported to result in fatalities. An Iraqi foreign ministry official stated that Washington was cognizant of the potential consequences of Israeli operations in Iraq and committed to providing assistance. In response to the execution of Iranian-German prisoner Jamshid Sharmad, who was abducted in Dubai by Iranian security forces in 2020 and subsequently residing in the United States, Germany ordered the closure of all 3 Iranian consulates in the country on Thursday. The Iranian judiciary announced on Monday that Sharmad, 69, was executed in Iran on terrorism allegations. Germany, the United States, and international rights organizations derided the 2023 trial as a sham. This occurred subsequent to the trial. Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock's announcement to shutter the Iranian consulates in Frankfurt, Hamburg, and Munich has resulted in the Islamic Republic's Seoul embassy being located in Berlin. On Tuesday, the German Foreign Ministry had already summoned Iran's chargé d'affaires to express its disapproval of Sharmad's execution. Markus Potzel, the German ambassador, also expressed his concerns to Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi before being summoned to Berlin for consultations. Sharmad was one of numerous Iranian dissidents who were either deceived or abducted and returned to Iran in recent years as Tehran began to retaliate following the collapse of its 2015 nuclear agreement with world powers, including Germany.